Good evening, well, ain't even a good night, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another edition of Scott Reacts, man. It's your boy Scott at Chair Scott on social media platforms. If my camera's shaking a little bit, ignore that. I do live next door to a fucking train. Not next door, but like right next to a train. So when that bitch starts training, ain't nothing I can do about it. But we're here, man. It is late, but I am recapping Game 7, man. The Oklahoma City Thunder are the NBA champions. They won Game 7, 103-91. Man, this is a game that's just so many twists and turns, and we'll get into the obvious in a minute, which is Tyrese Halliburton's. Looks like it's an Achilles injury, so we're going to get into that in a moment. But we have to give some credit to the NBA champion Oklahoma City Thunder. This is a team that has been number one from the jump, man. Like for the most part, I know a couple of y'all tweet me, but Cleveland's number one too. By the way, y'all been some well actually ass niggas in my mentions all day today. Like y'all got to stop that shit. Like seriously, y'all know what the fuck I be talking about. But anyway, but they've been number one for majority of the year, dominating. Came into this NBA playoffs. A lot of people had questions saying, "Oh, they're just a regular season team. They're still young. They have to keep losing for their win." I don't think that they have anybody who can be a number two to Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. And I just didn't see it. I've said all playoffs that are coming out the West. Now, I did say Boston was going to win the championship. My finals pick at the beginning of the season and coming into the playoffs was Celtics Thunder, and I had the Celtics winning in 6. Obviously, that did not happen. Jay Tatum tore his Achilles, and they lost to the New York Knicks. But this is just a team that they have been, dominating and rightfully become champions. This has been one of the most all-time teams statistically. Offensively, they've been great. Defensively, they've been great. And it's just been overall impressive. And SGA, one of the most underrated, I say underrated people, I don't know if they're going to be talking about the way they talk about others, but he has had an all-time individual season. I'm looking here at the stat that I saw where his playoff run stacks up with, man. But he just had a great season. I'm looking at it right now. So he is the only player to win. He joins Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Michael Jordan, and Shaquille O'Neal as the only players to win a scoring title, an MVP, and NBA Finals MVP all in one season. So you definitely got to give credit to him. He's up there with those all-timers, guys who won multiple championships, multiple MVPs. So he is in the right company. This game, after the Tyrese Halliburton injury, like I feel like both teams were trying to figure out how to react. I feel like the Thunder, they really needed that halftime. Going to halftime, they were down like 3 points and came out, being able to at least get some control of the game. And by the end of the third quarter, they went on their trademarked run they usually go on. And it was pretty much a wrap from there. Pacers tried and kept it close for little parts in there and even tried to get, try to take the lead back, but that just not work. But they did what they had to do to keep the lead, man. Mark Daigneault, got to give a credit to him. He was awesome. He's been one of the most underrated coaches in the game, even despite him being coach of the year last year. Luke Dort, Casey Wallace. We've been talking about the Judd Bushler game when I'm not going to hold you last couple episodes. He had a Judd Bushler game today off that bench for sure. You have guys like Chet Holmgren. Chet Holmgren, who was out a great majority of the year with that injury he had, and being a top draft pick and missing so much time, and then coming in and just doing what he had to do. Didn't have the best offensive playoffs, but he did play tremendous defense, and especially tonight. Jalen Williams, you saw Shea get emotional in the post game. When talking about his partner, Jalen, but Jalen really stepped up, and Jalen has been the reason that this team has been able to win because he's been the guy who has been Shea's running mate, who a lot of pundits, a lot of media guys, even a lot of former players thought that they weren't going to be able to do it because he's not a number 2 type player to win a championship. And boy, he has proven them wrong, man. So definitely much love. Congratulations to OKC and congratulations to OKC fans. I think it's underrated how much stuff they've been through because they haven't even been around for even 20 years. I know some people say, oh, we know Seattle Supersonics won championship in 74. Yeah, I get that, whatever. This is a different franchise, man. I don't care nothing about what they're doing with in Seattle and things like that. So, that's just something to me where this team right here is just different because they came back. They came from a different area. I mean, of course, you had the Hornets playing at OKC for a little bit after Hurricane Katrina. You had them, really just accept that team and embrace that team from the jump. And now, this is something now where they've just built it from the ground up. You got to give love to Sam Presti. Sam Presti has been through so much. Drafting the three. Kevin Durant, James Harden, Russell Westbrook, 3 MVPs he drafted, and then all of them leaving. Harden leaving first after they made the NBA Finals in 2012. KD leaving 4 years later, and then Russ leaving a couple years later after that. Then going, they got Paul George. Got Paul George. Then Paul George, they traded Paul George. Paul George left when his contract was up to go to the Clippers. And does anybody feel more foolish than the Los Angeles Clippers right now? Now, granted, hindsight is 2020, and we are doing a lot of Monday morning quarterbacking right now. I think that at the time, that's a trade that you do if you're the Clippers. I would have did that trade. We all would have did that trade. We look at Kawhi Leonard a lot differently than we did 6 years ago because of his injury history and things like that. But in 2019, coming off that impressive Toronto Raptors championship, and on top of all of that, he was just dominant. So, of course, if he tells you, I will come to your team, and you're the Clippers, you don't get anybody. Just go out there and get Paul George. You're going to do that. You're not thinking about who this point guard we drafted a year ago. He might be the future. So, hindsight's 2020, but nobody's got to be feeling dumber than them right now. So, but yeah, I know they're going to go out there. Fans got to be feeling great going through so much. So, congrats to OKC, man. I don't want this anticlimactic ending to this phenomenal series, a series that I believe the NBA desperately needed to get away from the fact that this is a great team, man. So yeah, shout out to them. But we got to get to the elephant in the room, which is Tyrese Halliburton. Tyrese Halliburton looks like he tore his Achilles. We don't, that it came from his father. His father said that it was the Achilles, and that's something we got to get officially confirmed. Obviously, they're going to be looking at the MRIs and things like that. But this is what I said, not just on here, but I'm not gonna hold you when he suffered the calf injury in Game 5. I think it was in the game. It was in the Game 4. In the Game 4, really Game 5. I said you have to be careful with those injuries because we saw what happened to Kevin Durant. Calf injury lingers. KD injured his calf in, I think it was the second round in 2019 against the Houston Rockets, and he was out for the second round, West Conference Finals. First 4 games of the NBA Finals. He comes in Game 5. He is absolutely cooking the Toronto Raptors, bro. And it looks like, oh, shit, the Warriors can get back in the series and be able to, take it, not get back in the series, but take the lead in the series and be able to win another championship. He tore his Achilles. We didn't see that man for almost 2 years. Just this year alone, we've seen so many injuries. Now, Kyrie didn't have a calf injury, but Kyrie's had a lot of knee injuries and things like that, lower leg injuries, which ultimately led to him tearing his ACL later in the regular season. We've seen 2 Achilles tears in this playoffs as it is. Damian Lillard tearing his Achilles in the first round against the Pacers. Jason Tatum tearing his Achilles in the semifinals against the New York Knicks and now here. And it's very unfortunate because all 3 of those dudes are going to be out all of next year. Damian Lillard has the most obvious tough road back because of his age. But once again, forgive my cameraman. I like I said, fucking train, ain't nothing I can do about it. But yeah, so it's definitely got to be bad. I feel so bad for Pacer fans because it's moments like this where you have a team, your favorite team, or just one of your teams, lose a championship in one night. Not only do you lose a championship, you lose your franchise player in the last game of the season for about a year plus now. In my 30 years, 36 years old, I've been watching sports, well, what I can remember for 30 years. It's been longer because my parents always tell me a story about me watching sports with my granddad when I was like a baby and 2-3 years old, and that's how I got into it. Obviously, I don't remember anything before the age of 5, But that's what they said. And, I believe that's how I got my love in it from watching my grandfather when I was a baby. But from when I can remember watching sports, my first sports memory was the 1996 NBA Finals when Michael Jordan and the Bulls won their fourth NBA championship. So that's my first official memory. When this camera is pissing me off. I'm sorry, y'all. It really is. But that's what we're doing this show. I'm gonna be transparent with y'all. I'm not gonna edit this part out. I'm just watching this like what the fuck, but fucking trains. But anyway, so yeah, and the worst parts of my sports fandom was Super Bowl 41 when the Bears lost to the Colts in the Super Bowl, and also Derrick Rose tearing his ACL in 2012. In fact, that took majority of my love away for the NBA. Like I watched the NBA, obviously. I'm still a fan of the NBA, but before Derrick Rose's injury, that was my favorite sport. Once Derrick Rose got hurt, I stopped caring about the league as much. And the NFL really became my favorite sport after that. But yeah, Pacers fans had my two worst nights in one night. They're not going to sleep well for a long time. I feel very, very bad for them. It's just tough, man. And you got to give credit to the Pacers. They fought so hard this entire game, and it just really felt like fourth quarter, they just ran out of magic. They just ran out of everything they possibly could. They would turn the ball over. And when you don't have your best player on the court, who's also your floor general, you can't afford turnovers like that, and it just killed them, man. So, man, I wish I had positive words for Pacer fans, but I unfortunately do not have that for them, man. It's gonna be tough. So that is all I've got. The NBA season is over. I thought the regular season was whatever, but that's just kind of how I feel about the NBA right now as far as the regular season goes. Maybe it'll be better next year because next year, if you thought this year was wide open, next year is going to be really wide open with all these fucking injuries we had. But very great playoffs. One of the best playoffs I've seen front to back in a long time. The NBA desperately needed this. NBA desperately needed this NBA Finals. So great into that, man. So we will be breaking this down in full conversation tomorrow on I'm Not Gonna Hold You. Tomorrow is the season finale of I'm Not Gonna Hold You. We will have a NBA free agent special the day after the first day of free agency, so July 7th, which is a Monday. But the show, as you know, will not be back till Friday, August 29th. But I will still be uploading content multiple times a week on this channel. So subscribe. Press that subscribe button right now. Subscribe. Turn your notifications on. Leave a comment. Like everything. Shout out to everybody who has joined the channel. We want to keep doing something. We're going to be getting a whole bunch of content here, man. So definitely shout out to everybody who's been supporting, man. So that is all I've got for y'all. Y'all have a great night. I will holler at y'all tomorrow on I'm Not Gonna Hold You. We up out of here.